What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Whiskey Talk with Three Dudes, episode 71? 72.
You were close.
I was close. See, I was going to say 71.
Close, but no cigar.
No, sir. No, sir.
So we're back, guys. So last week we weren't on because Eddie was in Vegas at the time.
Yeah.
Today we have a special guest today, Abraham Villela.
Welcome.
Welcome,
Hey.
Abraham.
We
Welcome
got a
to
table.
the podcast.
Yeah, we got a table full of stuff here.
Yeah.
Lots of
Lots of cool stuff.
I know it's going to be exciting. Go over it.
yeah.
Let's talk about the whiskey first. So today we're having Pinhook Straight Rye. Was it Kentucky bourbon? Or not Kentucky. He's from Kentucky.
I don't know. It says hand bottled in Frankfort, Kentucky, so it looks like it's at least bottled there.
Distilled in Millville?
Melville.
Melville. Yeah, that's what.
Oh yeah. No, it's distilled in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, so this is probably an MGP.
Oh, okay.
But it says aged more than 24 months in new charred oak barrels. So
My baby's 24 months.
yeah.
You mean 2 years old?
No, 24 months. I actually
That's
I found out that there's actually a reason for that, and that like it's a certain like a milestone thing, and that's kind of why people do that. I always used to think like, well, why? Like, but at a certain point, like, yeah, okay, stop.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
yeah.
Like, oh, it's 77 months. No, that's not a thing.
77 months.
Yeah. So,
Have you heard that talked about, Abraham? People
What?
call their kids like my kids like.
how old's your kid?
Oh, 24 months.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I always went with just like, yeah, it's 2 years, 2.5 years, whatever.
So today I'm wearing my drinking glove. I became a pro, guys. This is my drinking glove.
Yeah.
And so far it helps out with gripping the cup.
Well, watch
It
out.
adds extra.
Look at
grip.
his form. Look at his form.
It also prevents the whiskey from getting warmed up from the body heat. So
Oh, is that? Yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Yes.
Maybe I need a drinking glove.
you definitely do. I highly recommend.
I don't
drinking
know.
glove.
I don't know if I'm professional enough for a drinking glove yet. though.
I think you are. After 72 episodes, pretty much. I mean,
That's true.
So,
That's
yeah,
true.
Yeah.
I think so. I think I might carry this to a bar next time.
Yeah.
Oh, there
like,
you
that's true. Like once you get to the bar, like if you pull like hold, before they serve you your drink, you're like, hold on. Put a
I'm
glove
ready,
on.
sir.
That would be the
Okay.
funniest thing ever. Would you laugh if you saw that, Abraham?
Oh,
I would.
Would you be like, what the heck is this guy doing?
I would just put the whiskey logo on the little button on the top. There you go.
Hey,
Boom.
come on! Now we're talking branding opportunities here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Don't give out all our ideas
Okay,
here.
sorry.
Good idea there.
Yeah.
But this is a very good rye whiskey. You obviously get the notes of rye. So Eddie, you have the notes there.
So on the nose, you'll get a familiar MPG rye scent and present, but with a twist. Light rye spices is immediately noted, but not the main focus. Additional notes of summer fruits are mixed with lighter notes of hay, brown sugar, cherry, and a tad of cinnamon. Apple, cinnamon I taste.
I get the cherry. I get almost like a tangerine.
Did you get the?
And then on the
little bit
palate,
tangerine.
you get bourbon rye. You get a sweet, light, oily mouthfeel full of fruit and flavor, orange and citrus, being very prominent. A sip of some new oak, a tad of rye spice. I taste that vanilla, and white peppers.
Yeah, there's a little bit of the white pepper spiciness to it, but yeah, to me, it's like it's hard for me to focus on anything other than like I mean, for me, I get like a pretty big tangerine flavor.
And you remember how I was telling you that the rye, like usually I'm not really a big fan, is because it's sweeter than expected in other ryes.
Yeah,
So that's probably why I kind of like it. 'Cause
Oh.
I'm kind of like a bourbon kind of guy, so I like, yeah.
it's not necessarily the one thing that to me is missing in this that's present in other ryes is kind of like the licorice flavor. That is not really present here, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
I don't particularly care for licorice, but it's more present in other ones.
Definitely recommend it. So the horse on there, what's the name of the horse? So there's a horse on the bottle. Apparently it's named after a horse.
Yeah,
A horse, of course.
There you go. The horse name is Bourbon and Rye. The horse size is 16.1 hands, and the color /sex has different. It's DKB/C, which I don't know what that means.
DKB, probably dark
Dark brown, maybe.
dark bay.
Dark,
Big.
dark black. I don't know, but it's this is actually the. I picked this up because this is I saw their bourbon first before I saw any of them, but then I saw them together, and this is actually lot one from Pinhook. So their first, probably their first bottling of the stuff, which is usually good to try out. I mean, it's
it's pretty
new,
good
it's
too.
different, not something you see around. I actually saw these in at Trader Joe's even.
Ah.
So
Whenever I saw it, I thought it was wine, just by looking at it, just because of the label.
it has more of a classy, like
Yeah.
the shape of the bottle too, kind of
Right,
has more
right.
of a wine feel to it.
But then when you read the bottom, it's a little single.
Heavy bottom on the bottle too. Like look at that. That's pretty crazy.
Fat
This would make,
bottom girls, you make them.
that would make a cool cup.
It's a
Maybe.
badungadunk.
That would make a good cup, actually.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Definitely would. So our guest Abraham is not partaking. He does not partake, which is fine.
A fancy term right there. Don't partake.
Yeah, I like that word.
Yeah, I mean,
Partaking, partake.
sure.
I like it.
It's all right. We'll drink your share.
We will. We'll drink for you, Abraham.
Yeah, don't worry about
We,
it.
we do
worries.
not. Yeah.
We have somebody that has a drinking glove, so you know,
For real.
we know that we
We're
take
for
this.
business.
You know, we take this seriously.
I came prepared.
Fucking drinking glove.
No glove, no love.
That's true.
That's true.
Oh,
That's true.
there you go.
Cheers to that one.
Yeah, we'll drink to that.
Yeah.
So Abraham,
So, yeah.
my buddy here. So I met him through Bible study. He's the dude that leads Bible study. And he works for West Coast Shaving, right?
West Coast Shaving.
And where are you guys located?
So we have a small retail customer service store in Chino Hills. We're mostly an online company, so we have thousands of products. So yeah,
And you brought some of them with you today.
I brought some stuff we carry, some stuff that I own. That way you guys can get a mixture of what this whole wet shaving hobby can partake of, I guess.
It's a deep rabbit hole. I actually,
It is.
I was looking at my old email address. Actually, ordered from you guys in September of 2010.
Oh wow!
So
Yeah, we've been around.
yeah. It's and even then it was a pretty big presence in terms of online and kind of one of the first results that would come up when you type in wet shaving supplies in California, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I never tried the wet shaving, or I heard about it, but I never really.
I'll tell you how I got into it. And I don't know if you guys want to hear that story, but at least for me, I got tired of buying freaking Mach 3 blades. There's my facial hair grows really fast.
Yeah,
And
because you're Middle Eastern.
yeah, of course. That's part of the requirements for joining ISIS. But but yeah, I mean, there was times I kid you not, there was one time in when I was in boot camp where I had to shave 3 times in one day.
Wow.
It was crazy because it just grows really fast, and I got tired of buying them because the cartridges would last me maybe 3 decent shaves, and then I'd have to toss them.
Yeah.
So I started looking into it first. I actually first got interested in straight razors, which I guess if you're trying to save some money or whatever, and find a different way of doing things, that's kind of where you gravitate towards.
And straight razors look cool.
Yeah.
They do, but they have a bit of a learning curve. Some people take to it. I particularly didn't, so I was like, well, let me see a different way, and I started wet shaving with the safety razors. So,
Yeah.
older style razor blades where literally it was just you get a single double edged blade and you replace that out. I actually ended up finding, so there's different brands, so you try different ones, and the one I have is a little different. It has kind of 2 silo doors. That's a
fancy
newer,
single edge.
more modern style. But the ones I ended up with, because there's tons of blades, and people go through they'll buy sample packs and stuff and see what they like better.
Yeah.
And I ended up with I found some that I really liked, and I bought a box of, I think it was a box of 100 for $25.
Oh, nice.
Persona medical prep blades. And those would, I mean, I was just, for one of them, I was like, well, let's see how long these last me.
Yeah.
I could get at least 10 shaves out of it. And not just that. And I don't know if I attribute this to the particular method or maybe the prep. But I noticed my shaves would last a lot longer. Like I wouldn't get the 5 o'clock shadow at 10 in the morning.
Right.
Closer shave.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was necessarily the prep or the method, but
Yeah.
I was sold on it.
Got it. So how'd you get into it, Abraham?
Yeah, so about 6 years ago, I was like, YouTube was kind of big YouTube is still big. I was watching a lot of like barbering videos, and I just loved watching like people just barber different haircuts. And
Yeah.
I had long hair at the time, and I was like, I want to go get a haircut, so I did a Yelp review. I got a haircut, and I just started watching more barbering videos, and like little like videos came up of just people wet shaving.
Yeah.
They talked about like why they did it, right? They save money. You go into this to save money, but you have all this
Yeah, like I said, it's a deep rabbit hole.
right. So I started, I've always wanted to learn how to shave with like a straight razor. So I bought like my very first straight razor off eBay. It was this like really crappy gold dollar. I've since got it rescaled. And, I've always wanted to learn how to do it. So I got a brush, I got a soap, and the first straight razor shave I did with it, it looked like I got attacked by a cat. Right.
I think that's a requirement.
It's a requirement. It's like a rite of passage. And people are like, "What happened to your face?" I was like, "Oh, like I saw a cat and I tried to do the Lion King thing, and they did not
work out.
They did not like that. But like, after 30 shaves of doing it that way, like you learn how to do it. So this is my very first one. I got it like rescaled with this like trippy like toxic waist scales, kind of looks like Donatello from Ninja
Reminds
Turtles.
me of the Joker.
Toxic Avengers.
Yeah, and I just started like getting another soap and another soap and another soap and another fragrance, and I really just enjoyed it. The thing with wet shaving, it's that thing you do before you go do the thing you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all about the process. So it's, for me, I love enjoying the process. You save money if you just get one soap. You get a better shave. It's better for the environment. I know a lot of us aren't too big on that, but like, how many like cartridge razors do people just like dump, right?
Like I said, mine.
Sure.
I not only are they super expensive, like mine would literally last maybe like 3 shaves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they get all bumpy and all
Right.
Yeah.
Starts
Yeah.
pulling and
And you just find that
That's
like
worse.
when you have a straight razor or a razor on your neck, you're not thinking about anything else. And I think everybody can like use that for like 15, 20 minutes before your day starts, not thinking about anything else. That's why I think you guys like the whiskey so much. It's not just about like drinking it, but it's like while you're doing it, you're just enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tasting the notes, you're having conversation
Exactly.
with other people. So it's all about like the process. So yeah, you get like a great result at the end of it, but you're enjoying the process.
It's definitely the process and the experiment and the experience and kind of not necessarily like the gear nerd, but there is a little bit towards it, right?
Right.
I mean, of course, like we were talking about this brush, and in reality, you can get one brush and stick with it. It'll last you a lifetime if you take good care of it. But maybe maybe your first brush is a boar brush, and maybe you want to try something fancier. You want to try a badger brush, but you get a low end one because you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this.
Right.
or
Is that
whatever.
more for just the scrubbing, just to get in there? And
So like when you first start, you just get like whatever is cheap, right? Because if you don't spend a lot of money, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, like, man, I hate this. I spent so much money.
Yeah.
So just like with everything else in life, you want to have that variety. Man, I wished I had something that was softer, right? So then you do some research, you get another brush, turns out that wasn't the one, you get another one. Then you find what works for you.
Yeah. And sometimes they all work for you, but you just want to try something different in that specific day. Like that was with me with like different soaps, like or like different aftershaves. Like, I'm going to bed, like maybe I don't want to slap my face with a whole bunch of menthol, or maybe maybe it's early in the morning and I need to wake up, so those work well for that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it is cool. And also, like I said, it's a deep rabbit hole. It's one that, but it's one that it'll, it's something you do. You may as well enjoy it. Right. So, I think
it doesn't have to be a rabbit hole. Like I've turned a lot of people this way, and they just have one soap, one brush, one razor, and they enjoy the variety because as soon as that soap's done, they try a completely different scent.
Yeah.
Whereas you have like a bunch of them all at
I have like, it's ridiculous. Like I'm almost embarrassed. I have over like 80 different soaps, 80 different aftershaves. Like they all have to have like a matching aftershave. I got like that OCD. I have so many brushes, but it's all because like I enjoy it. Like this is something that it's like a hobby. It's so dumb when you tell people, yeah, that's like my hobby. Like, wow, you're so weird, right? It's like, but it's not. It's like super enjoyable. Anytime like somebody new comes over, like, hey, come over to the bathroom, like let me show you all these scents, then they get intrigued, right? Then
Right.
you get them into it and you just introduce them like, hey, this is like another morning routine that you always wish you had, but as guys, like we don't talk about this, right? Because it's so
Right.
taboo.
Or it's a routine you never even knew existed. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the big kind of turn on for everybody when it comes to this, it turns something like shaving that what's a chore, which why a lot of people maybe have beards. You were doing this, so like it's not really like a chore or anything, to something they look forward to doing. And like 9 times out of 10, if you can take something you're already doing and show you a more enjoyable way, you're gonna go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, especially shaving with cartridge razor. Again, it's a different way of doing things. It's like tying your shoelaces with one hand instead of two at first, but then it's like as you get better at it, like you get better at it, and it's more enjoyable and that sort of thing.
so
Right.
do you prefer straight razor or this was it safety razor, right?
Yeah, it's a safety razor. That's what's called like a single edge. That's just a different way. There's like 4 or 5 different types of like traditional razors. I prefer that single edge razor, but that's because I think that you get a closer shave, for me anyway, with the straight razor. But there's certain areas like when you need to go shave this way on your neck, you can't like get it. So that is like the best of both worlds for me. But I prefer single edge razors, so like straight razors or like that single edge.
Okay, got it. And I remember you were telling me about how like the reason, because I get bumps, right? And I'm subscribed to the Dollar Shave Club, and because it's convenient and it saves me some money. But I get the bumps. But you were talking about those razors have 3 or 4 blades, and so when you go over the skin, it's like going over. If you go twice, it's like going over it like 8 times.
Yeah. So what happens with those razors is the first blade kind of like cuts into the hair, and as you're moving it along, it kind of lifts up the hair, and the blade behind it cuts it. The third blade cuts into it, lifts it up. The fourth blade cuts it. But what ends up happening is, while it's plucking the razor up and cutting it, the hair can actually retract into the skin, and that's when you're getting your bumps, because now the hair is trying to like curve up. It's being pushed up against the skin. That's where you get irritation. And like that's like probably 90% of the reason that switches, because like they hate the bumps. Like for guys, that's like a big insecurity.
Well, and it can become a medical issue as well.
Yeah.
Staph infections.
Yeah, I mean there was I was in the Marine Corps, and there was often, since we had to shave all the time, some of our dark green Marines, as we used to call them, have.
What are dark green Marines?
Well, we're all green, so but some are darker than others, but different shades, I guess. But some of the Marines, some of the black Marines had a bit of an issue with that, and I think it's because like you have to shave really fast, or it's not, again, it's something you have to do, but you do it as quickly as you can to just get your day started. It's not like you have time to wet shave there. Or also combine that with using cartridge razors, because that's what we had. I mean, that's just so we didn't really have.
Was provided.
Yeah, I mean that's
so
what we have.
well, because my problem is my skin, like I was telling you earlier, it's like it gets irritated really bad. So I got to get like the right shaving cream, because if I don't get the right shaving cream, it's done. It'll like hurt. It's like like torture when I'm shaving. Like when I first started, I started doing it with soap, and then I did that, and then that was a problem, because I just started getting red, and then
and I think that has to be, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that has to, when you say the right type, like you need to get one that's like extra kind of more slippery, maybe, as opposed to like, because if you get like, how were you preparing like the soap when you started, when you said that
I would just warm water, do it, and just,
that's probably why. And that's where the brushes come into play, is that like you can get a soap like these soaps here, if you get these and you work them, like it's amazing. Like you get like far thicker and denser foam than you do from like a can. You know, it's weird.
Okay.
It's
okay.
it's crazy, but it takes a little practice, like everything. But once you get the hang of it, you can think about it as much or as little as you want, really. So that's a pretty cool thing about it.
So, do you guys recommend like when I go to a barbershop, they put a hot towel? Is that necessary, or is that?
Yeah, so that just helps with the preparation of your skin. So this is called wet shaving because you want to get hydration into the whisker. A wet whisker is easier to cut. So when they do that, they're getting some of that steam, that moisture from the towel to your face. Ultimately, you want to shave after you shower. That's when your skin is most prepared. So at a barbershop, they don't have time for you to hop in a shower and like come
No
out.
showers in barbershops?
No.
What?
No.
So
Whack.
so that's a way for them to prepare your skin, right? Which when you go shave, you don't prepare your skin. You just throw that canned goop on and
Yeah.
Yeah.
shave.
Pretty
So
much, yeah.
It's
Mhm.
true. It's very true. And so let's smell some of these, man. I'm kind of excited to smell some of these
I think
soaps and
I smell,
aftershaves.
I smell this aftershave. I think I still have some of it on my nose, but
Yeah,
that smells
I
really good.
put some on actually.
Yeah,
Which one's that one?
The
Let's go one by one. Let's see. This is the Fern Concerto.
concerto.
Sorry, it's
So
Italian.
that's like a symphony of like citrus notes, green notes. It's probably my favorite scent in kind of wet shaving. You know, in Southern California, we have 2 seasons, summer and almost summer.
Yeah.
So that is like something you can use every day for any occasion. And it's just really, really great.
smells really good.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Kind of want to drink this, but I kind of don't. That's fine.
Fine.
Well, you
Like,
have the glove for it. You have
Yeah.
the correct glove for it.
That's
Feel
true.
like a wino.
Yeah, it does look like a little wino bottle.
It's awesome. So alcohol, distilled water, menthol, essential oils, fragrance oils. Holy caw.
Holy cow.
Oh, cow.
Yeah, you can't register holycow.com. So he calls it Holy Cow. The owner is named Sri. He's out from New Jersey. This guy is like a skincare guru. I once asked him a question about skincare. 10 messages later, I was like the most probably educated guy in California about skincare. He's more into skincare than he is into shaving products.
Right.
And he just has a great nose, and he can make something just that smells marvelous.
Is that another holy cow
The
product
soap
there?
is, I
Yeah.
don't know,
That's
is this
that
one?
soap. That's the matching soap.
Can I
for
see the
that.
soap?
Yeah.
Oh, that one
So-
smells good.
Yeah.
That's the one that has
Yeah,
That's
that's
the-
donkey milk.
That has
right?
donkey
Let's
milk
talk
in
about
it.
donkey milk, because I was like, what? Like I thought it was like a joke,
Yeah.
but apparently donkey milk is a thing.
Donkey milk is a thing. It's how they feed the. I'm just kidding.
It
Yeah,
does
it's-
exist.
It's like a miracle ingredient. It's like a super like hydrator, super nutrient, and it's crazy. Little ingredients in a soap can really change not just the chemical makeup, but this soap is one of the best ones when it comes to how it makes your skin feel. You were saying that you bought something about 9 years ago from West Coast Shaving. Like soaps have come a long way. Like if you were to
I'm
use
sure
one
they
of
have.
these soaps, they're not just slick, right? Anybody can make a soap that's like thick and creamy.
Yeah.
But how do you get it so it's like a great, like your skin feels amazing, not just after you shave, but like as you're shaving. With some of these soaps, it's like the best your skin has ever felt and looked.
Yeah, and even when I was wet shaving, I really was focusing more on like the classics. Like I was using so I found that I was using Paraso,
Right.
and I really liked that stuff, but it was just hard to find locally.
Mhm.
And then I found out that Bath and Body Works, their soap is actually just that, but it's just
Sealed Bigelow.
relabeled. Yeah, it's just relabeled, and I was like, oh, sweet. So I would go and load up when they had like those coupons where they do like buy 3 get 1 free or whatever.
They always have deals.
Yeah, and I would just load up on those. So, like that's what I use a lot of
Mm.
mostly. But
Interesting.
yeah, this is more of a. I could see where these go together. It's not the exact same scent, I don't think, but it's a complementary one.
Well, you'll get the truer scent from like an alcohol-based aftershave, right? Because it's
Yeah.
only alcohol and the scent. Where that you're also getting it muffled with the ingredients.
Yeah,
Cocoa
right.
butter.
they're not as available, I guess. Whereas that, it's like it's all just evaporating, so you smell it more. But Yeah, I can see where these would go well together. These two smell.
Yeah,
awesome.
so the same fragrance, essential oils are in the same soap or the aftershave. It's just again you're smelling more of the base of the soap.
Found another one.
Yeah,
What's that one?
this one I just opened it and I was like, wow. This is called Monarch Aftershave. It's a beaver with the wig.
It's an otter.
Oh,
It's by a company called Noble Otter.
there it is, Noble Otter.
Yeah, so every otter has like a different personality. So that one's like a monarch. It looks like an English king. So
Looks
that
like
has
a-
notes like cognac, lavender, bergamot. That is like that would be like my daily fragrance. I
That
love
is
that one
amazing.
so
Let me
much.
check that out because
I
it
would-
smells. Because it smells like the way that you described it right now. Those scents are
Wow.
like some of my favorites.
And like powder too. So like
Try it, dude.
Oh wow,
That is
Right?
amazing.
that is awesome.
he's gonna be coming out with an EDT of that in like a month or two, and I'm gonna like
shit.
stock up.
Yeah,
An EDT.
Yeah, an eau de toilette.
Oh, got it. Sorry, I'm not privy to the.
It's okay.
Lingo.
I got an
Oh, smells
EDT
good.
glove, so we're good.
yeah. There you go. You have a drinking glove that has an EDT glove.
I have to put it on before I do the,
Yeah.
the squirts.
Oh man, yeah. This smells.
Sounds
I mean,
good,
this smells
yeah.
great.
This is amazing.
You know, it's weird because I think you're right. Like a lot of these smaller companies, I didn't really see too many of these. Like there was somewhat smaller companies back then, like doing stuff, but like these are all just I've never heard of these.
All
Just-
these are small artisan companies. Like it's somebody making soap either in their home, their garage, or they've gotten popular enough where they can get like an industrial unit and make stuff there. This one, he makes it out of his home. Smells good. He's probably my favorite artisan. Meaning he's so well branded. For me, the more like better a brand is, presents itself in packaging, I'm gonna reach for it. Where's the hardest place to sell a book? A bookstore.
yeah,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at like all these soaps, the one you're gonna reach for first is the one that's
catches your
well branded, the one that catches your eye.
This did catch my eye because of that. I was like, wow, this is kind of like
Right, so
you know,
if you-
especially if you saw them next to each other, like you said, like all the different ones.
Right.
I would be like, oh man, like I got to check these out.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Twisted Sister featuring an otter.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's basically like
D.
what
Snyder.
those English monarchs, they'd have that wig, that like
Yeah.
very powdery face,
yeah. That's really-
distinguished monarch. Yeah.
That when I smelled that, I don't know if you saw my reaction
Yeah,
to the
you're
smell. I
like-
was like, wow, like it smelled really, really good.
Yeah.
Let's see, this one's
So that's a parfum. So there's I don't know if you guys know the differences between eau de colognes, eau de toilettes, eau de parfums.
no.
So basically, an eau de toilette has like under like 5% of the fragrance oils, and the rest is alcohol. An eau de cologne is like 5 to 10. An eau de parfum can be anywhere from like 10 to 20. So a lot of like the female perfumes, they're called parfums or perfumes because they have higher concentration of oils, and the rest is alcohol.
Ah.
Where for guys, they have like toilettes because we don't want to have like a strong smelling fragrance on us. So that one's a parfum. So that one's like lavender, fresh sheets. That's like something that's very relaxing. Lavender is a very relaxing scent. That one, if you guys want to like spray some like on one wrist, don't go too crazy. But that's just like a very clean, fresh scent.
Ooh. That smells really good. I would use this as a daily.
Yeah,
I can
that's a
smell
great
it over
day.
here.
Right? It's nice.
It just
It
yeah,
smells- yeah.
like, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny because like the first thing I'm looking at the back, like after I smelled it, I'm like, yeah, that's like fresh, and it's like white, white, clean white linen. It's
Yeah,
like,
Yes.
yeah.
they nailed it. Like that's exactly what.
Smells good though.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I wish my linen smelled like that.
Right?
this is an amalgam of citrus and herbs that refresh, uplift, and soothe the spirit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all that. Like it's
Wow.
really cool, but it's not like you mentioned that this has kind of a higher concentration of things that give it the scent, but
Right.
it's not overwhelming. I mean,
Right.
it's,
Right.
it's still very very pleasant.
Very pleasant.
Yeah,
I know you
That's
wanted
awesome.
to talk about that one.
Yeah, so this company is called Mammoth Soap. So I'll kind of pass that around. That's a scent called Funny Valentine. It was like a Valentine's Day inspiration. So that company, part of the proceeds for that soap, anytime you buy one of those soaps,
I think you'll like
part
this
of
one
it
too.
goes to an organization that helps end human trafficking, right? So
Oh,
and
that's
that's
right,
like
that's right.
really, really great too, where it's not just, hey, I'm selling soap, but there is a cause behind this. So even if you're not aware of it, like that's why they called it mammoth, because human trafficking is that elephant in the room. People don't realize is there just on the news in Moreno Valley 2 weeks ago. They like rescued 37 people.
That's crazy.
Yes.
From the human trafficking ring. I mean, like it's nuts. Like we don't think it's there, but it's there, and that helps to raise awareness. And one of the big reasons why I love that company, especially the man behind it, his name's Ben, is so not just a part of the proceeds kind of go to it, but he gets with like an artisan brush maker. They raffle off some sets. So if they make 100 soaps, there's that $100 donation. Yeah. But then if he makes like 2 sets, gets 2 brush makers behind it, people will bid on it, whether it's like a raffle or whatever. And every time they release a scent, they're donating like $2,000 to like this company that's helping ending, human trafficking or bringing awareness to it, or, actively doing something.
And I think that's awesome. One of the issues too about it is that like, we don't really know necessarily what that means, because because it's not really often discussed. It's like, what is human trafficking? Right. What does, we get it. We have an idea, we have an idea of what it is, but like, we don't really know what it looks like. We don't really know what all it entails. In terms of, other causes that get people to donate a lot. Yeah. Breast cancer awareness, don't get me wrong, it's terrible. I've lost people to that that I love, but it seems to be more branded correctly, and if you really look into it, there's some not necessarily great people that or organizations that raise money for that, but there's also other ones that do good work, and it's hard to find good causes to kind of stand behind, but especially when it's like, the person, what they're doing, it's always good to support those. Like, absolutely. Like I said, I think that maybe that may have been kind of my saving grace when I was getting into this, is there wasn't all these like smaller companies doing cool stuff like that. That must be a lot more recent, maybe within the past 5-6 years.
Right. Yeah, there's another company, Talbot. It's around there somewhere. Part of their proceeds goes to the national parks. So what is it called? I forget the exact organization. I think it's but it basically goes to help with the parks. It's called the Land for Public Trust. So you're also helping with that too. That is a scent called Cole's Pond. Cole's Pond was a place that his family would go to when they were younger.
Does remind me.
So he tried to recreate that scent. So, and the great thing about scent, it's so tied into memory.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
There is a sense, like, this is when I realized, like, man, I'm like too far into this. Growing up as a kid, my dad would always shave. He wouldn't shave with like a safety razor, he'd shave with a cartridge, but he always used Aqua Velva. And he would always smoke while he was shaving, right? And as soon as he was done shaving, he was done smoking, he'd toss that thing in like the toilet. So the bathroom would smell like cigarettes, like tobacco. But a cigarette doesn't smell like tobacco. Smells great. The Aqua Velva. And I remember there's a soap called Barrister's Reserve Cool. And when I smelled that, I got teary-eyed because it smelled exactly like when I was a kid and I walked into that bathroom after my dad was done shaving. That's awesome. The soap and the aftershave that I use on Father's Day, on his birthday. My dad since passed, so and I don't have a video of my dad. I haven't heard my dad's voice since he passed 10 years ago. But to have that scent so tied into the memory of my dad, it is like so good. And like he's doing that with this fragrance, like this, he's inviting you to his childhood.
Yeah, man, that's really it's amazing. It's like combination kind of like of like pine and cedar and like kind of like a leaf litter smell. Like it's hard to describe. It
smells like pinol.
Yeah, in terms of like it's funny because as soon as I picked it up and like I saw it and saw that it was called Cole's Pond, and then I smelled it, I'm like, yeah, I could picture that. I could picture a pond smelling like that. Not necessarily like some people think ponds and they think like funky, murky scents. Like, no, this is like a really nice, fresh, like, woodsy pond. It's a really awesome scent. But yeah, you mentioned Aqua Velva because I used to use that a lot too. And the last bottle I got, it's right around the time the last bottle that I got was when they switched from glass bottles to plastic bottles. And I was like, man, like it's not plastic. Again, but part of the experience, right? Like picking up a plastic bottle versus a glass bottle is a completely different feeling.
Right.
Like I was just kind of like,
It's the same thing if you were to pick up one of those bottles,
Yeah,
Right,
I mean, it's like anything. Like it's just something you get used to, and then it gets changed.
Right.
It was just weird. It was weird, but I mean, I got to the point where I was like, I'm just gonna pop the top up and dump it in there, and put it in the glass bottle.
So aftershave tonic, it's still the same thing. It's aftershave.
Yeah,
it's
so it's just a concentrated version. So with that one, it kind of have your face damp a little bit and then place the aftershave on it.
Okay, so this is Le Piment de la Vie. So it's Spice of Life.
The Spice of Life. This company is called Katie's Bubbles, ran by a guy named Chris Cullen from New Jersey as well.
It's not a guy named Katie.
Not a guy named Katie. Look up his history on why it's called Katie's Bubbles. It's Katie's Bubbles. It's so great. That was the first soap I picked up. I've gone through 4 of those soaps. Like that's how good it is. Like when I think of wet shaving, that's the scent I think of.
Yeah, I could see that.
And for Southern California, it's not a scent I can reach for a lot, but it's very nostalgic for me, and like I'll always have that scent.
It's what you would imagine that a barbershop smells like. Like you mentioned that, like a fresh barbershop, because it has kind of like the. Not necessarily like the Pinot Clubman, the powder, but like it has that kind of like that kind of feel to it. Yeah, it just smells really clean too.
Right?
It's awesome. It's an awesome scent. Yeah.
I'm smelling this one and EDT 13.
Yeah, 13.
Right? Oh, it's 13.
Yeah, that's the name of the fragrance. So they have that in
I'm
the
trying
soap
to
and
pinpoint the smell. That's
Yeah.
why I've been smelling it for the
So
last
that one's crazy. So it's like some wood notes in there, but like a guy will smell that and he'll get a completely different smell than a girl would when they smell that. Like it has some of those like pheromones or crazy stuff in it. It's like so great. That one's a
It's
scent
just-
that guy or girl, you will love it.
That is an interesting one.
Right? It's like
That one's subtle too. So like spray it on your wrist. Like it's not like when you walk into the room, not everybody's gonna smell you. But if you're like 5 feet or 3 feet in somebody's like bubble,
Yeah.
they're just gonna be like, wow.
Yeah, that's more of a
interesting.
yeah.
That's one of those fresh, clean scents.
That smells really good. I said this earlier before we started the podcast. I was smelling this one. I don't know why it reminds me of like a brand new Halloween mask, a little bit.
oh, that's the one you're smelling.
Scent is just crazy.
It kind of has. Now that you mention it, like I
Like
could
a
see that.
You can see that.
I
Like,
could see
like
that.
brand new latex
Yeah.
type shit. Like, it smells good though.
Yeah.
I would-
They're like a good version of that. Yeah.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good version of
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I could see that.
This is pretty good. Let's see. I'm gonna check out Fine Classic Aftershave Platinum.
Yeah, that is a aftershave that's modeled after a $400 cologne called Credaventus.
Woo!
So you get like smoky pineapple and some other notes to it. That one is like a powerhouse fragrance. You wear it like you can wear that
can make a
wearing a
present.
suit, right? You can wear that with like some shorts and like people will know you are around. That's one of the fragrance where like all the ladies want their men
It smells good.
to smell like that.
I don't know why I pictured bomber jackets.
You can, yeah.
It's like 90s. Take me back to like 90s. Where, like
When you wear that, like you're commanding that presence.
it smells really good,
That's crazy.
Oh wow.
right?
I could see that. I could see where you're kind of
Transported in time.
Yeah.
yeah. That does smell kind of.
And this
And
is
and the weird thing is, it's like a lot of these, like you said, like it's not. Some of these are kind of scents that remind you of something. Like it smells familiar. It's not like, of course, most of these are all of these are brand new to me.
Yeah.
But I can like
Tie it
you,
to something.
you smell it and you're like, this seems familiar from like this. It kind of reminds me of this. None of them are like, oh, this is a completely new experience. Like it's the weirdest
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
ever.
It is the weirdest thing ever.
There is a YouTuber, he reviews fragrances, and there was a cologne that he just really, really liked. So on the day his kid was born, he wore that. So he could associate his kid
To that smell.
to that scent. And the great thing about wet shaving is all these soaps have different fragrances. So you can associate it with whatever it is in your past or whatever you want it to be for your future. So this is a great to have like a variety of like, there is a scent that's like an orange creamsicle. I love wearing that on Saturdays, right? When like you're not doing anything. All these wet shaving products have different scents. That's part of the allure to it. Picking up a new soap, picking up a new fragrance. That one is powerful. That one's great.
Yeah,
Panda.
that one is good. I smelled that one earlier.
Yeah, this one.
That
Yeah,
was that was
it's by a zoologist. It's called Panda, and it has a panda on the front label.
Yeah.
It smells really good.
that was really good.
Panda, and he's wearing a
Watch
like a
watch
tux.
his face when he smells it.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I like this.
So earlier he was telling us this person, I guess you take a certain animal and they kind of model it to smell like what you would think the animal would smell like.
Yeah, so you get like bamboo, you get some green
Yeah.
apple, you get some musk. You know, all these animals, these large animals, they have like this
they-
pronounced musk. So
Yeah.
that one starts sweet, but as you wear it, it's like a very masculine, musky scent.
No.
Anytime,
Even just spraying it on, like it changes completely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know that, like,
That's crazy.
originally, like a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, Calvin Klein, like it does that. Like, no, a lot of fragrances do that. This does that for me. Like, it's one thing to smell it, like,
Yeah.
on the bottle, but man, like, I really enjoy this. I'm going to have to get some of that.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
that
I
was
that's
think
awesome.
everybody here has
Yeah,
said that.
Eddie
I,
was
I
sold.
took a picture of it too. I was like,
I'm going to have to get
yeah.
that.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
get that too.
Yeah.
And I think don't colognes or smells don't they smell different on different people based on their pheromones?
Yeah. So it'll react differently with your skin chemistry. So what it would smell on me would be different how it would smell on you. So anytime you're looking for a cologne, go to the fragrance counter. You know, I like to do 1, 2, 3, 4 spray. 8 different colognes, and smell them 3 hours later. Right? That's how you figure out what cologne is going to work really, really well for you.
And that's the thing, you mentioned that, like, now, like, just in checking it, just, I don't know, I sprayed it, maybe like 45 seconds ago, and now it's changed completely. It's like more kind of on the sweeter side, but it's not, it's really unique. Like, it does remind me, it's funny because it has a panda on it, but it kind of reminds me, like, you would think, like, oh, bamboo, like, right away.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
it has that kind of that bamboo scent to it.
There's a fragrance called Bat, and one of the main scents is like banana. Right? So they pull from like these different animals. So camel has like a frankincense type scent. So yeah, zoologist is really, really great.
That's really cool. I'm going to have to check
Where
that
can you
out.
pick those up?
You can pick those up. Just look at them online. I know we don't carry them. They're like a specialty, like a niche brand. That's just like the whole, like the fragrance world is something different than the wet shaving world.
Right.
But
Got
like they
it.
all have like, they all have ins and outs to each
That's
other.
crazy. I like how you put, like, I never thought about that way where you just the sense to something or something that will remind you of something later. That
That is a
that's
pretty good
awesome.
idea.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if and when God blesses me with the kid, I think I'm gonna choose a cologne for that day.
One that
Yeah, so you
hopefully
know.
one that you really enjoy.
Yes.
Not a bad
talk about the kid. Talk about the cologne.
Well, I mean, hopefully the kid comes out all right. If you enjoy them, that's a bonus. But yeah, it's they're at Zoologist Perfumes. I had to check them out because if not, I will forget. But yeah, in looking at not just the branding
Look at
on
the
the bottle
box,
is cool.
look
Check that out, dude. Like, you order that and that's what you get. That's
Yep.
pretty awesome.
In that box,
Mhm.
dude.
Wow.
And it gives
the
you like a
packaging.
description and everything. Like that's,
Abraham was saying, I mean, branding.
that's part of it, man. Yeah, this one's
Like-
this one's Dodo, and that's
Like-
Dodo Bird, and
Think about it this way: when you buy an Apple product, you probably still have the box somewhere in your closet.
I do.
I do. Yeah.
That's how great it is when it comes to branding. And like, so these soaps, it's not just the label on it, but does it present the message of it? So this whole thing is about like the process. That's why like wet shaving is like so great. Like, you enjoy it. It's really like you're buying a soap, but really what you're doing is you're adding on to your experience.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Dude, we're gonna have
That's
to
awesome.
we're gonna have to consult with you as far as branding, with the podcast branding.
There you go.
But yeah, it's funny because I smelled all of these and like you had sprayed one of them and I was kind of hesitant to do it, but then as soon as I smelled that one, I'm like, I gotta take this one
Mhm.
because I don't know. I think Jen would enjoy it too.
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
it's good.
Yeah.
Dude, all these are pretty dope,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, so like again, it's not just fragrances, but it's like the brushes, the soaps, like they all are a part of the process.
They all tie.
Yeah.
So what's the different materials they use for the brushes?
Yeah, so brushes are like they go back to like the 1904, even earlier. So what they do is the brushes help to lift up the hair, right? So it helps lift up the whiskers. It helps to exfoliate the skin, so to get some little scrubbing action. It helps whip up the lather. So just if you were to take like a whisk and beat some eggs, like it incorporates the water, and it helps when it lifts up the hair and it helps suspend the hair in the lather, and it just feels great when you do it, right? Like I have a friend named Jared. This guy lathers for like 10, 12, 15 minutes, but he enjoys the process.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right?
That's Jared.
Yeah, so right there we have some Badger brushes. Obviously, Badger brushes.
These?
Yeah, come from Badger, but like all these are artisan made brushes. So that looks like something retro. That looks something like from the 40s. Like I love the two-tone. That one's made by a guy named Rob Moffat from That Darn Rob.
That darn Rob.
Yeah, that's a Badger hair. That one is really crazy. So it's made out of wood, but he uses fractal burning. So he has like two like rods at the end of it, and like it looks like lightning. The guy that makes that, he's from Vegas, named Ian Ryan. As soon as I saw that, I had to have it.
That's awesome. So for our environmental conscious people, now is this like cruelty free?
So you can't just like take the hair off the animal, right? The animal needs it. So
Yeah.
So unfortunately, when they do get the hair, the animal
It's deceased.
is deceased. But in China, where the majority of the fibers come from, they're rodents anyway.
Yeah.
Now for people that like don't want something like that, that's when you get into the synthetic market. So these are
So these are
synthetic fibers.
hair.
They're more they're softer in my opinion.
Yeah.
They have like if the hair is thicker or thinner, they can have like different properties. So like one can be scrubbier, one can be softer. That one just feels like a cloud. Like that one's probably my favorite brush.
And that's the thing that like people don't really because people associate like, I mean, at least from what I saw, people associate typically like, oh, it's a boar brush, it's cheap, which most of the time they're more inexpensive, but it has a purpose. They're more available, but it has a different purpose, right? And then there's different grades of Badger as well. Like you can I mean, these are artisan brushes, so I'm sure they're not just like it, because there's a price range, right? You can spend $40 or $50. You can spend hundreds of dollars on a brush.
Right.
Again, it's one of those things. It's a rabbit hole. It's but in the best way. Like, because there's just so many that you have so many choices.
I'm sold, man. I know your friends were commenting on the video, and they said, "Look at Abraham converting them." I think I'm converted.
It's surprising that I have friends. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I
I'm not surprised.
I think you guys would enjoy it. Like I don't necessarily partake in the entire process anymore, obviously. But I mean, I still use my safety razor. I still, do some prep. I don't just, hack away at my skin when it's dry.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him. How you get started. It's like, well, like you guys were saying earlier, you gotta start somewhere and then you learn from it.
Yeah, and you don't need to spend a lot of money to get into it. 5 years ago, or when you got into it, you were probably spending $50, $60 on a razor.
Not even that.
Yeah,
I mean, because I didn't even when I got into it, like of course the Gillette Fat Boys were still expensive. Those are the ones everybody wants because they're adjustable. So I found out, I'm like really, like why would I want an adjustable one? So I looked into it. I'm like, I don't want one because it's just going to be more difficult to learn with.
Yeah.
So I picked up, and at the time, I don't know what they're at now, but like I think I have a couple of Gillettes from like around like early 60s, maybe late 50s. I mostly reach for, I have a Gillette Red Tip that I use mostly. And I mean, I think I paid maybe for the most expensive one, which was the Red Tip, because it still had the case and everything. I paid maybe like $30 for it, and that's because but you can get them for relatively cheap, especially if you run across them and they're a bit dingy or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, scrubbing bubbles. Like that was one of the, like, I'd get it. I'd clean them because most of them are chrome plated or whatever. As long as they're not too pitted and they're rusty, like you can clean them up and they look brand new.
So it's kind of like I would tell people with guitars, like, oh, what guitar do you recommend? It's like, well, if you're gonna start playing guitar, you go to a pawn shop, get yourself, cheap guitar, and figure out whether you're gonna like this or not, whether you're gonna be into playing guitar, and then figure out, and then afterwards, like same thing with guitars, same thing. There's some artisan guitars that just, I mean, the sound, the look is just superb, and you want to spend money on that.
Yeah, see, so they're still relatively affordable. I mean, you can get a vintage Gillette Red Tip for $10. $3 worth of shipping.
Is this on like eBay or something?
Yeah,
or?
yeah. So and they did different colors. I think the blue was like it was basically just denoting different angles for the
different
blade.
levels of aggression.
Yeah, yeah. And it's I was like, well, I'll try the Red Tip, and if it's too crazy, I'll just go to one of the standard ones. But for me, it was just fine. The one thing that when you're shaving with the safety razor and you is told to you a lot, but you don't realize it, and it took me a while to realize it, is not to put pressure, because the thing is like when we shave with cartridge razors, like you think like you do put some pressure on it, but like if you do it with even if you're thinking you're not putting pressure, you still are, because you're just so used to doing it that certain way.
Yeah.
Like after a while, literally you're using just the weight of especially on these older ones, right? Mm-hmm. You're literally just using the weight of the razor itself. Like,
got it. So Matthew commented that horsehair is cruelty free because they use the hairs that they brush off the horse.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. I would imagine that probably boar might be the same. It's probably like, other leather products, it's like they're probably using stuff that's already wouldn't otherwise get used, maybe. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
So you're also a coffee aficionado. I know you made me a coffee that was very good. It was a pour over style, right? And that was a very good coffee that kept me up.
For a while.
Not for a while. It wasn't like one of those like, because with me and coffee, some coffees like it used to make me like super jittery and like make me feel sick. But this was a good type of like being alert and stuff. So I know you're into Go Get 'Em Tiger.
That is my favorite coffee shop. It's in LA. Since they've kind of been around since late last year. I've been following them.
Speaking of smells,
I have a coffee subscription to them, so every 2 weeks I get a new bag. I make coffee every morning. Again, it's the same thing. It's the thing you do before you go do the thing you do. It's the process, right? It's enjoying making it. It's so that's what my morning really consists of. When I get up, I'll read some of the daily readings for the day. I'll go take a shower. I'll shave, and I'll make coffee. I put it in my little thermos. I drive to work. I'm enjoying some coffee, and again, it's the process. You enjoy this. You enjoy things more when you have a bigger role in it.
Right.
Yeah, because it's easy enough to. I mean, we switched away from K cups at home, just because I was like, it wasn't great coffee. It was just coffee, it's just like, it's a necessity or whatever.
But you up your game on the last one.
Well, we actually did so I moved away, we moved away from K-Cups almost accidentally, because I started cold brewing. And I brew I brew in a 64-ounce jar.
Was this after we did the episode
I think it might have been.
So we had a coffee roaster,
Lagar.
Yeah, Lagar coffee roasters. They're out of Paris, California, and they brought us this cold brew, like a huge jug of cold brew, and it was just delicious. I mean, you get the berry notes and just, it was great.
Yeah.
We think that's all we I don't think we drank whiskey.
No, we didn't.
All we drank was that coffee.
And it was. How long did you guys stay up for?
I didn't go to sleep until like 4 o'clock in the morning.
So that day it didn't affect me. There was, I think it may have been like the next day. No, it was another time when we had a podcast. I was already making my own, and I had some before I came here, which is probably like 6:30. I didn't fall asleep until like 4.
Oh geez,
shit!
But it wasn't like necessarily like, I'm up, like I'm a jittery. Like it was more effective to me because it was, I actually found a blend that I really like, I've stuck with it. And so I started doing that. But what I would do is I would grind the beans at the store and then bring them home. And I was doing like I would buy them like a pound at a time, and I was like, you know what? It's probably not the best way to do this. Like, I'm sure there's a better way to do this. So I was actually looking at our Craigslist and found a decent coffee grinder, or a burr grinder. And I went and met up with the guy, and you know, this guy is as nerdy in a coffee is probably you can be, to the point where he's, you know, roasting at home.
Yeah.
You know, he pulls it, you know, he's showing me that he has green beans from a whole bunch of different places, and he's like, you know what? He's like, are you looking for an espresso machine? I'm like, well, not really, but what do you got? I'll look, you know. And he's like, and he pulls out, it's like a pretty old, you know, it's Seiko Aroma, an old espresso machine that, you know, it's still fairly reliable. They still make them, and they work well, and are, in my opinion, a great machine for, you know, beginner home espresso. So I used that for a little bit. Ended up with a different machine and used that for a bit. Another single boiler machine, and I was making mostly lattes at home, but I was making them for my wife and I, which kind of slows down the whole procedure with a single boiler. So recently I picked up a double boiler machine, and I've been using that, and it's been awesome.
Espresso is a whole other thing, though.
Yes.
Like people don't realize, like, making pour over at home, like, that's one thing. Anybody can do that.
Well,
But to
you say
do-
that.
But to do espresso, though, like, you need to like practice like the grind. The first time you make it, it's not like the best. So like when you go, that's why like it's better to just go to a coffee shop and pay somebody $4 to like make you an espresso or a cappuccino or a latte. Because then if you do that at home, you're gonna go through half a bag of like coffee beans before you have it dialed in.
So that's what I did. I actually went to Clutch, in the one that I went to. They're actually local. They started in Rancho Cucamonga, but they have a store in Rancho. They have a store in Ontario. That I went to the one in Fontana, and you know, up until that point, like I was just using Lavazza coffee. You know, very available, commercial, Italian roast, very forgiving, because, you know, again, you know, after going through, you know, maybe two or three kilos of this stuff, it's like, you know what, I can probably get something better. So I go there and I was like, look, this is what again, kind of, it's one of those things that, like, when you're learning coffee, it helps to have somebody brew it for you that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I went there and I was like, look, this is what I want. Like, I'm making espresso at home. Pour me a shot of espresso and make me a latte.
Yeah.
Like, and they had, interestingly enough, one of the very few places that I've seen that actually has an 8-ounce latte, which I looked around, like, it was crazy. I looked around forever for kind of like the perfect like espresso or latte cups for being at home. Like I wanted ceramic cups. I wanted maybe older ones because they're made thicker, they retain heat better, that sort of thing. Yeah. But they're more like that's a cool one. But the ones that I got are kind of more like the classic style, where they kind of open up more towards the end. And it's but yeah, I was like, look, like I want to know what this is supposed to taste like. And then once you figure that out and you get the tasting notes and you figure it out, depending on, I mean, just the slightest adjustment on a coffee grind, like a decent coffee grinder, is just, it can throw, you know, it can throw
it
the thing.
off.
Not just that, but then also as it comes off roast, and we discussed it a little bit, but it's actually, people think, oh, like I want the coffee, you know, fresh roasted or whatever. Yes and no. Like there's this kind of a bell curve that for a lot of coffees.
Yeah.
Where like they start off here, a couple days off roast, they start getting better and better and better, and they kind of hit a peak, and then they kind of start diminishing. But
That's normally about a week.
I think that's a good guideline from what I've
so
heard.
about a week. So as soon as you get it, that's why I love my coffee subscription. So when I get it on Monday, I'm still going to be finishing this one. If you like pour over and you like to taste the different notes, like this one's like peach, tangerine, tamarind, some rose, like you get all that. Since I like the brighter flavors, within that first week of getting it, that's perfect, right? But if you're using a little bit of a darker roast or a medium roast, which you may be using for cold brew, you know, you want to wait a little bit let the bean not mature, but just let it kind of degas a little bit. And when after that week, you're gonna notice like the notes in there better. Darker roasts tend to play better for cold brew.
Yeah, and it's funny for cold brew because it's kind of I go through so much of it. Like I'm not really terribly concerned about like roast date and like it's just I just want something that's solid. So what I found that I really like Winco. They have like the giant bins or whatever of
Yeah,
coffee,
yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
not the best setup
They have
for
giant bins
for-
of everything.
yeah, but their Kona blend, I find that like in the way that I drink it, it's almost like just drinking chocolate, like almost like a chocolate milk. Like I put a bit of heavy creamer in mine, and it feels like drinking chocolate. Like the chocolate notes are huge, and I even like for a little bit there, I was brewing it with a little bit of cinnamon as well. And man, it was pretty awesome. But yeah, I actually I have a pour over setup. I've done it a few times. That's a whole you say like espresso, but I mean cold brew is its own thing. Like it has its own, or I mean pour over has its own technique.
Yeah.
You want your coffee to come through at a certain amount of time. Like there's certain ratios that you want to hit.
That's
It's
what
almost
yeah.
it's almost the same thing with espresso. It's just it's condensed basically.
That's-
It's
that's
just
what-
more meticulous.
It
It's
is
more meticulous.
It's more sensitive.
Yeah.
There is that.
Yeah, he was showing me like you got you want to pour this much, you want to wet the filter, you want to get your cup warmed up. I was like, you want to warm your cup up?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you want to warm your cup up. I was
That's
like,
why if you go to like a cafe where they actually let you they actually give you a cup, like they're all on top of the machine for their espresso based drinks because it's a passive, like it warms the cups.
Right.
Oh.
Because you don't want to go to a restaurant and they give you like a warm steak but on a cold plate. Right? It kills the whole thing. That's why like when you go to make your coffee, if you're about to like brew some hot coffee, but it's in a cold mug, now you're going to be drinking lukewarm coffee, which you may like, but
Inside joke.
you want everything to be warm. So while you're making your coffee, put some warm water in the cup. So when you go to put it in here, now this is warm.
It stays warmer
it all
longer.
stays warm.
Okay.
Well, but see, and here's also the thing is and this ties into whiskey as well, is the extremes of the temperature on either side are not good. There's kind of a sweet spot where maybe you make a coffee and you make it at a certain temperature. And that's another thing with both like just coffee in general. Your temperature will affect the extraction and what how much is extracted from the coffee. But maybe you make it a little bit warmer, you let it sit for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then you drink it. Because if you drink it like when it's crazy hot,
Yeah.
you're not going to have the same experience.
Nice.
By the way, there's a guy watching. His name's Matthew Drost from New York. He roasts his own beans, so he gets the green beans from Sweet Maria's. He uses a Jiffy Pop machine, like the ones that you like hand crank.
Yep.
He makes his own beans. He saves a lot of money that way. Like he's one of those people that roasts at home to save money. Legit, he does. I'm spending like $20 on a bag of beans. He spends $20 like on 2 pounds of beans, and that lasts him 3 months, 4 months.
Wow.
And like he sent me some beans, and like I'm spoiled. I can go to like a fancy roastery and like get some great beans. He sends me some, and I'm just like, you do this at home? I hate you.
Yeah. But again, it's a technique part. It's like how many batches. And the cool thing, the thing that appeals to me and that I find interesting in green beans is coffee before you roast it. They're called green beans. Those will store indefinitely.
Yeah.
They don't go bad.
There's no shelf life on them.
No, they don't go bad. I mean, yeah, you want to store them in low moisture, that sort of
Right,
thing,
of
so
course.
they don't get like moldy or something. But if you store them right, they last forever until you roast them, and then then you get your time. Your time starts. But yeah, I've played with the idea of home roasting. I don't know if I need another.
He has too many hobbies, dude. Like he does he smokes his meats. He like
Yeah,
too many.
That's the thing is I enjoy the rabbit holes because I think it's just the learning aspect of it.
And you just enjoy it better. Like that's one of the things with life. Like we don't enjoy the things that are there, and when you enjoy them more, like it goes from just existing to like really living. That's why, like, again,
Right.
the drinks that you guys are drinking, it's not just a drink, but it's what it represents. It's the community. It's
Yeah.
this podcast really isn't necessarily about that. It's about you guys sharing your life, and you guys just do it over. I'm tasting this. I'm tasting this.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's a good way of putting it. Wow.
It is.
Yeah.
See,
Telling you.
that's why I tell you.
That's why you took the. That's why you took the drinking glove off.
Yeah.
That's why I did.
It's not about drinking.
Because it's now it's the drinking of getting in the way of the experience.
It really is actually.
the,
I'm feeling the
tactile,
cold.
the tactile experience of the glove or of the glass.
So I poured a little bit of. I put a drop of water.
I saw that.
It opens it up.
Does it
Yeah.
Yeah.
to the better? Or?
It's good. Like it's not like other. So the funny thing about whiskey, like if you add like one drop of water, it'll change it up. Like
Right.
some it'll mellow it out a little too much. On some it's like it just changes it up. It's
Hey
pretty
Matthew,
good.
we're drinking Pinhook
Yes sir.
straight rye whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy Matthew Dross, he's like I look up to that guy. He's like, man, he's like one of the best friends, and so grateful for him. He teaches me about shaving, teaches me about coffee.
That's
Just one of like the salt of the earth people. Really grateful for him.
Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
And I think he's right. That's exactly what happens. So there's
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, because and in some it happens and in some it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had an experience on one of them that didn't.
Oh, on one of them it was like, this is terrible.
Yeah, yeah. We shouldn't have done that.
And one that we really noticed it on was contradiction.
Yeah.
That
That
one
was-
is probably the gold standard for showing somebody like, look, this is what water can do to your whiskey.
And just one drop is what the trip is. It's just like
It's
one drop will
literally
just
one drop.
completely change it. But yeah, it definitely does bring up the oils. It breaks it up. And yeah, dude. So what'd you think about the one drop?
You know, I don't know if I tried it. Like, it didn't seem
You think soda water would make it a little different than what water?
that's a thing with. Oh wow, that's a thing with Scotch. Some people drink it with like certain mineral waters.
Topo Chico.
Yeah.
Topo Chico.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we've experienced as well is some of them, like there's some whiskeys that we like, that's how we normally try them. We try them neat. We try them with a drop of water, and then we'll decide maybe I put some ice in it, maybe I don't. It depends on the feel. Sometimes some whiskeys are good with ice.
Yeah, they're well right now because it's been cold, so we haven't really tried ice. Because
No, I don't think it's that. I think once it gets hot, we'll still not put ice in it. Because I think we've just, I mean, at least for us, like we'll find that there's very few of them that you would put ice in, and it would actually
Yeah.
change the experience for better.
Yeah.
Right,
No, I just prefer it neat
Yeah,
anywhere I go.
I think like where if I'm trying something new at a place, like I will definitely order a whiskey and a water on the side
oh, there
just
you
to
go.
try it.
Yeah.
Um,
When I went to Vegas, because after I was done with my meetings or whatever, I went there and I was like, man, I need a whiskey. So I was like, okay, Maker's Mark. I was like, nah. I was like, yeah, but no. Like if I really want to drink, I was like, let me get a beer. So the second night, I was like, man, I want something to drink, but I want a whiskey.
yeah,
And I went to, they had this bar hitting in the corner, and I was like, oh, I'll go over here, see what they have. So I look up, and I was like, Nika coffee. Let me get that one.
Yeah.
I was like, well, because, we enjoy that one. So
Yeah, we do.
it's a good friend.
Yeah.
It's a familiar face.
It's a very familiar face.
Now I enjoy going to bars and sitting and talking to bartenders
Yeah.
about whiskey. And it's enjoyable now because and I noticed that the bartenders enjoy it as well because especially if they've been in the bartending business for a while.
You'll notice it's the same thing. It's the same thing with coffee. It's the same thing with it. Like
Yeah.
the kind of the like when I had that conversation, I went and like I just kind of like you get an idea. Like I just asked a few questions, just to get an idea of like, am I talking to the right person? And
Yeah.
they were very enthusiastic about coffee.
Right.
And
you just go into all these different rabbit holes about whiskey or coffee or
Right.
whatever
Yeah.
it is.
But then you learn things from it, too, because it's something you didn't know.
Yeah.
And it's always enjoyable when you teach. Well, I like when I teach someone something about something like, oh, really? I had no idea.
It's cool to talk to people that I mean I enjoy it because I do I know a little bit about a lot of things. Not there's very few things where I know everything about it, but there's I know a little bit about a lot of things, and it's cool to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Definitely is. Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, do you have a ramen review for us?
Oh yeah, did you even try ramen? Because Eddie, so we got Eddie hooked on ramen. So we went to a whiskey festival in Long Beach,
Right. And that's
And-
how it started.
and so we were pretty tipsy. So God bless Eddie's wife's heart. She drove us around. So we took an Uber to have some ramen, and she met us there. And yeah, Eddie was
It's
hooked.
been an obsession ever since.
Yeah. It
Ever
has, well, I
since.
did try it actually.
Love
went
at
to-
first slurp.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. But we went to well, I went. It was at the Cosmopolitan where I was staying at. So they had this Japanese like restaurant. So I went in there and I tried this. What was it? It wasn't the one that we always try.
Tonkatsu.
Yeah, it wasn't that one. It was another one. I can't remember right now. It's been a couple days, but I tried it and it was spicy as hell, bro. It was
Yeah.
like
That's right up your alley, though.
Well, I know, but like, see, when we try that the takatsu or
Yeah.
right, it's flavorful. It's like you could taste the pork, you could taste like the noodles and stuff like that. But this one was too hot. It didn't have enough flavor as that one, so that one's currently my favorite. Next time I want to try it with the green bean noodles. I mean, not the green bean, but the
The spinach
the
noodles.
spinach noodles. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to try it with that and see the difference on that one.
What's your take on ramen?
On ramen. So yeah, never really had like a ramen experience. I mean, like I got the top ramen, the cup
Oh,
of
no,
noodles.
no,
I know.
Right?
It's a
Right?
different
Like,
world,
It's
man.
nothing like that.
That's
Yeah.
different.
But again, same thing. When you look at when you like go to a ramen place, right? When you talk to the guy making the ramen, it's not just putting broth and noodles together.
No, it's a
Like
process.
the stuff that goes into the broth, the ingredients that go into the noodles, the marrying of
Yeah.
both of them together, and then the experience you have, the additional condiments you put in there. Again, it's your everything in life is the process,
Yeah, I know.
right? So you're enjoying it. So when you go to different places, you're not trying different ramens. You're trying different ways people prepare it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it. It's not, but that's the thing. It's ironic that top ramen comes to mind, like when you bring
Yeah.
that to somebody, because actual
no,
ramen
no.
takes like many hours and lots of,
way different.
it's not
It's
just
not 3 minutes.
no
in the
no,
microwave.
No, it's a completely different thing, and yeah, the flavors are different everywhere you go, and it's awesome.
But then you give a pack of ramen to somebody who's serious about ramen, and then they
You're like,
can
what?
take that and like make that into like
Oh,
something
that's
so
true.
amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He probably could.
Yeah,
That's why when he took me over there at Long Beach and I saw the eggs and everything, I was like, this is heaven right here in the
Yeah.
bowl. Like,
Heaven in the bowl.
it was kind of a spur of the moment decision, but it ended up being the right
it
decision.
was the right decision.
So Rebecca and I we went hiking this weekend at Mission Trails in San Diego, and then afterwards we had some ramen, and there was like Rebecca likes to go on Reddit and look at recommendations, and they recommended this ramen place, like it was highly recommended on Reddit. We
Right.
went there, and it wasn't really, it didn't really live up to the hype. And so we went to Hironori. I took her to Hironori in San Diego, which
Yeah.
is the place we went to in Long Beach.
Yeah, but it
right,
was-
right.
And so after we ate at that one place that Reddit recommended, I was like, so this place or Hironori? She's like, Hironori.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. That place was good.
But yeah, I think it comes down to the pork belly.
Oh,
It also
dude.
comes. I think. Also, see for me, the Koki is the gold standard, but that's just because like that's the first one I tried, and that's where I fell in love
It's
with
your
it.
first love.
That's yeah. So it's like, and even within like, there's been times where and it's never the same.
Yeah.
Like there's sometimes you go and it's really good. Sometimes you go and it's like, this component was kind of off. Like maybe the rice didn't taste as good, but it's always different. It's always like, so it's that's why I really like it. It's just because it's probably the first place that I went to.
You know what's really hit
But I'm
or
open to
miss?
trying. Yeah, I'm open to
What's
trying
that?
different ones.
You know what's really hit or miss? Coronas.
Yeah. Well,
Coronas.
the beer?
Beer.
Oh,
Talk about the beer.
Well, the
Yeah.
Corona actually, the other one's the one that.
the familiar.
dude.
That's been like for me. It's like if they have that, I default to that.
Yeah.
Like, but it's
Indeed.
like
Yeah.
Indeed.
that's like you'll ask them if they have we have the regular one. No, Do not insult me that way. I don't want that one.
Slap yourself.
And it's funny because that's all we used to drink.
I know, back. Oh yeah, but it's a different flavor now than it was back then.
I don't know. I think our experience with beer has changed, and therefore we don't like it.
Oh,
anymore.
absolutely.
Yeah. No, yeah,
It's
after a
changed
while.
a lot.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still got that smell,
Yeah.
and it has changed.
Yeah. It does.
A lot of these scents are like,
Shit,
they
I'm buying
play
one.
out, they change, you get some notes, like there's like top notes, middle notes, base notes. Base notes are what this it's made of, like what's the like main notes, but then top notes are what you smell right away, then it transforms into something else.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's crazy. It's amazing.
I'm picking up some of that Panda, dude.
Me
for
too.
Sure.
Me too.
Yeah. That's the most
Anytime
Put
I
on
wear
my
that,
cart.
I get at least 10 compliments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that thing.
That's cool stuff.
Where'd you
Yeah.
pick this up?
That one. So there's an aftershave I like called Savon Lavande, and it was a dupe of that. So then I bought that. That's like $120, but again, it's a parfum.
Yeah. So you need very little of it.
Two sprays at the most. But that's one of the scents where, like, if you're like 2 feet or if you're in my personal space, you smell it and it smells good.
That stuff does smell amazing. Yeah. That would probably be, well, I don't know, man.
It's
I like
also
it.
Dude,
it's also nice to have a variety of scents.
Yeah.
Like I have like
Dude, go back to this.
7 scents. I have like 7 scents I'll go through I'll like go through, right?
That stuff is
like,
awesome, dude.
yeah.
it seriously. I can't help but have like a huge smile on my face.
That stuff.
When I
Yeah.
smell this, like
Yeah.
it's
And I can
involuntary.
smell it way over here.
Yeah.
It's seriously involuntary.
So what got you into this? I don't think we asked you that.
As far as fragrances,
Fragrances, yeah.
Yeah, so just when you have like a variety of different soaps, they all have different scents, and then you enjoy smelling like that, right? You enjoy having the variety. So how I got into fragrances was, okay, if you're like, a couple feet in front of me, I can smell my aftershave, right? I can do this and smell it. If I kind of like do this, everybody can whiff it. But colognes or fragrances, they're a little bit stronger. They project.
Yeah.
It's like fashion, right? Like
Right.
It's so funny. Branding. I love branding. I love packaging. Did you know, like, when branding, like, say for example, Nike, they never used to put their logo on the outside. It always used to be on the inside. Then they realized, I'm not branding clothes. I'm branding
Right.
people.
Right.
Right? So with fragrances, I love it that, like, you're telling a story. Like, if I come up to you with Panda, you're just like, I don't know this guy, but he smells good. And already you get like an opinion of the guy, right? Same thing with the Gendarme 20 or the Monarch. Like, all these scents tell a story before you open your mouth. Some of the clothes that people wear, it tells a story before you talk to them.
Yeah. And the cool thing about these is, like, they're all, like, they're unique. Like, there's certain, there's also the very popular and mainstream scents that you're like, okay, well, that reminds me of this person and this person. Because I know, like, Old Spice, for instance.
Right.
Like, that's one that's like,
Old Spice is for old people.
it's a class. But see, when I started using that a lot, like, almost kind of ironically, right? Because it's like, oh, it smells like old man. But then I was like, man, I really enjoy this.
Yeah.
Like, but it was one of those things where it's like, for some people, or like another one. I never got into this one, but this is another one that, like, you'll remember, a Brute.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring that one
That
up.
was another one.
Yeah, Brute's another one
The
that's
green
like,
bottle.
You
Everybody-
probably like that because it has that licorice note in there.
yeah. See,
The
that's another,
anise.
like, I liked it for a little bit when I was, like, really young, but, like, I haven't really smelled it recently.
I think the
Also-
other one. Oh,
Also, you as you mature, you don't like certain scents anymore.
Yeah.
right.
I want to tell you a funny story about that cologne. So if you want to go ahead and just spray a little bit about it, or spray on it on your wrist or somewhere, even on the back of your hand, that was like the first. Yeah, that one, the cap gets weird sometimes. That was the first fragrance that got me into this world, and I want to tell you the story about it. So that's from a company called L'Occitane, right? And they sold this shaving brush. It was $30, and like they had it out in that mall out in Irvine, South Coast Plaza.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna drive like 45 minutes to go buy this stupid $30 brush. So I go to South Coast Plaza, and then I realize I am not dressed to go to South Coast Plaza.
No.
That's like
It's a whole different world.
it's
Yeah,
a whole
yeah.
different world, right? So I walk into this like fancy fragrance, just like high end grooming place called L'Occitane. I'm like, hey, do you guys have this shaving brush? Yep. They walk me over to this like dresser looking thing. They open the drawer. The brush is right here. I was like, okay, I want to get this. She's like, okay, have you smelled our fragrances? And I was like, no, I'm just really kind of here for the shaving brush. This was like the first year I got into it and everything. It's like, do you mind if I just show you the fragrances? I was like, sure, right? Like I have I'm good at saying no, right? Just not like at fast food places. I'm not good at that. But like, but they're like, yeah, like, so there was like 6 fragrances, right? So
Right.
like, dude, I remember this so good. She saw me coming, right? So she got one called Cade, sprayed it on a card, did this, smelled it. Okay,
Yeah.
Second one, vetiveria, sprayed it. It's not so like that's not for me, right?
Yeah.
The 5th one was Eau de Beau. She sprayed it, right? As soon as she sprayed it, I was like, smells good, right? She did this on the card. I smelled it. I was like, whoa, kind of like what you did with Panda, right? I was
Yeah.
like, this smells great, right? And as she was going for the 6th cologne, she would notice I still smelled it. She said, oh, you like that one? Yeah. So she takes the bottle with her, right? So we go to the checkout counter, and like when you go to Subway, they like, they have like the papers right there. They put the sandwich and they wrap it up for you and they slide it in. Well, they had the tissue paper there. So when they put the brush on top of the tissue paper, right? Tissue paper, right?
Got you hooked.
Yeah. That's
So the-
smart as
Dude,
hell, though.
so then she like
Wow.
crumpled it up. She put it in the bag. I bought the brush. As I'm walking out of the store, guess what I'm smelling?
The bag.
The
The
bag.
Eau de Beau, right? I was like, smells great. I'm sitting in traffic, right? Because there's traffic
I
everywhere.
was
What am I
in the
smelling?
car. Yep.
What am I smelling?
Eau de Beau?
Eau de Beau, right? I get home, I put the bag down, right? Because I'm messing with my shaving brush. Because anytime you get a brand new toy, we're like,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
like, oh my goodness, like I've never had one of these before. And guess what I'm smelling? Eau de Beau, right? Which is like at the foot of my bed. The next morning, I take a shower, I shave, and I look, and like my room smells so good. I go to the bag, I get the tissue paper, I start doing this. Right? Like I start doing I rub it everywhere on me. Right? And then I go to work and the secretary was like, wow, you smell great. And I was like, yeah.
I know.
Oh, tell me, man.
I get off of work and I go back to South Coast Plaza, right? I was like, I'm gonna go buy it.
The very next day.
The very next, as soon as I walk into the store, the same lady that checked me out saw me. She smiled ear to ear, right? Because she knew
She
why I
knew.
was there.
She knew.
I was like, hey, I'm here to pick up the cologne. She's like, yeah, you like that one? I was like, yes. I'm like, I was so mad. She knew.
Dude, she
I
got
know
you.
she got-
She knew, but what she didn't know is like she introduced me to the world of fragrances. And I love that, like, fragrances, again, it tells a story before you open your mouth.
Right.
And that's a funny thing about it. It's like one of the. It's such a sneaky sales technique.
Yeah,
Right?
So
yeah.
good.
I mean,
yeah. It's like
but
perfect.
not-
Genius.
I mean, wherever she's at now, if she came up with that move, she should be promoted to
MVP
president.
of sales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like 1,000%. But if not, whoever taught her that move.
Damn.
But yeah, I get like, to me, this is like kind of a like. It reminds me of kind of like an orange / clove.
It reminds me of
Kind of.
gingerbread.
It's vanilla, it's ginger, it's
That's what it is,
cinnamon.
ginger.
It's just
Yeah.
warm, it's powerful. This is what you want.
It's
This is like a signature scent. Right? Like you can wear that at like this scent you can't wear like every day. You can wear it at
No.
night to like a date, like
Yeah,
at
yeah.
night. When it's cold, like when it's raining, that's the one I put on. And that's one of the I get probably just as much compliments with Eau de Beau than I do with Panda.
This kind of like that's kind of the vibe I got, like, you know, kind of fall time vibe, like kind of
Yeah.
the warm, maybe kind of like a, because it has like some of the spice notes, like kind of a warm cider type,
Christmassy.
yeah, something like that.
Something you wear, ugly Christmas sweater.
Funny
Yeah.
story, one of my homies, so like I have all this stuff, right? So anytime like if you were to come over to my house, you'd probably just spend like 20 minutes in that corner, right? one of my homies brought his homie over. Like he smelled everything. I told him the story about that. He's like, "Wow, this smells really great." And like he kept looking at the bottle. He took photos of the bottle, and I was like, "Hey, can I spray some?" I was like, "Yeah, go ahead." I ended up seeing this guy like a week later, right? And like I forget where. I think it was at the mall, and I'm like, I smell eau de beau. I turn around,
It was
it's
the
that
same
guy. It's my homie's friend. I'm like, "Hey, man." He's like, "Dude, guess what I bought?" I was like, "Eau de beau. I smell it on you."
Yeah.
He's
I
like,
was
"Yes,
say-
everybody's been all of my friends smell like me now." Like it's so like they smell like me, right? But it's good because you're introducing people to a new world, and I love the fact that it tells a story before you open your mouth. And now, like when I meet people, they're like, "Yeah, I used to be the big one, right? The big one. Now I'm the one that smells good."
I guess there's worse things to be known by, right?
Right. Like you know my homie Abraham? Yeah, the big guy, right? No. Yeah, you know my friend Abraham? Yeah, the one that always smells good. Sweet, right?
Yeah.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
like I said, there could be worse things to be known for.
The funny thing is now that like I'm into fragrances and like I can go to a fragrance counter and be like a Ron Swanson to like the fragrance guy. Like I know more than you, right?
Yeah.
Now like anytime a guy walks by, I'm like, Paco Rabanne 1 million. Like I can just tell the sense, right? I was like, "Hey, if you were this one, you probably like this one." Then like they'll go get it.
That's fine. That's
That
crazy.
that 1
That's
million
crazy.
one, I don't really like that one.
Yeah, it's different for different people. Like there's there's like a candy bubblegum scent to it that's like a lot of people find irresistible.
I
But
don't
it's
know what
different
it is
for
about that
different
one.
people.
That's interesting.
Mine,
crazy.
I think it's Aqua de Gio.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
It's like an
So-
aquatic citrus.
So 90s.
Yeah, so
It
90s.
is.
It's like with Jakar, that's another
Cardinal.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to wear
That's-
Curve.
Eternity
Curve
1, Curve.
Uh,
All these scents are also like reminded you of your child, or not your childhood, but like at a certain age, like when you're
Three
in high
Flowers.
Yeah.
no, what was that one? Cool Water.
Cool
That's
Water.
middle school.
Yeah.
Like
It's
junior high, fucking cool. Everybody had Cool Water.
Cool
Yeah,
Water.
you had to like
One that I love, Yves Saint Laurent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, their fragrances are
I have
amazing.
at least 3 or 4 of theirs.
I have
Like
one
there are
of them.
different ones.
there was
Yeah.
this Eternity one that I actually kind of got into. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
that one's pretty
Yeah,
good.
and like there's like artisan cologne companies too. Like there's one out of St. Louis called Chatelain Luxe. They came out with one recently called Biblio. So it's like papyrus, not the font. Definitely not the font.
Yeah, no.
But
it's
like
terrible.
the papyrus scent. It's sweet. It smells like you just cracked open a
Like an
brand
old
new
book.
book. Or not an old book.
That's what, because you say papyrus, I say, oh, like old, just like kind of musty, kind of like paper.
That's what books were made out of
Yeah.
before.
Well, a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah.
A long time. Talk about Egyptian times.
Yeah.
So like yeah, when you start wet shaving, it's an introduction. It's an introduction to like different worlds. Like fragrance is just gonna be a bigger one. There's fragrances everywhere. There's a company called Barrister and Mann. Next month they're gonna come out with this scent called Diamond. It's for opening day of baseball. So you get grass, you get some dirt notes, you
Wow.
get some caramel popcorn,
Nice.
you get some beer. Like all these scents make up opening day.
I'm definitely picking up.
I think
Monarch.
those are probably 2 of my favorite ones. Is the Monarch and the Panda. This is it's really cool, but like you mentioned, I don't think it's something I would wear every day. It would be cool to have though, for sure, because there's certain occasions. Like, dude, like this is to me like, maybe like a Thanksgiving / Christmas party. I would wear this for sure.
Yeah.
Which one?
The Eau de
Eau de
Beau.
Beau. Well, it's all about seasons too, like
Yeah.
different seasons. Like, you're gonna wear that one when it's cold. The Gendarme 20, that's like every day. Monarch, that's every day. Panda, that's like a special occasion one. Just how you wouldn't wear a suit to the beach. There's some sense that you don't wear
That's true.
every day, but like it's
Well-
great once you find that signature scent.
Yeah.
That's yours. Like that Monarch would be like my signature scent. That Gendarme 20 would be my signature
This
scent.
one's probably by far my favorite.
Mhm.
You can wear a suit to the beach, by the way.
You can, but
It's
you look
called
weird.
it's called a wetsuit.
I thought we were gonna talk about. I thought it was a birthday suit.
That one too. You can. Well, I mean, certain beaches. Though.
Yeah, certain beaches.
If you go to Black's Beach in San Diego, that's where you can wear a birthday
Yeah,
suit.
so you can wear your
Funny
birthday
story about that Black's Beach. So there's this trail you can take, and so we took this trail down to the beach. I had no idea it was a nude beach. But we were kind of in the middle between the nude beach and the regular beach.
Right.
And we were just chilling. Rebecca and I were just chilling on the sand. And we see this sculpted black dude just butt naked just walking by. I'm like, what is happening? She's like, oh, you didn't know it's nude beach? Like, no.
Yeah, you kind of want to give somebody a heads up about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was, speaking of birthday suits.
I mean, but at least like, you didn't get like, to me, it's like,
Keep smelling that.
yeah.
Dude, I can't
That's
get over it.
That's the one that would get sprayed on your bag and you would go back and buy it. That's
Yeah.
yours.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They saw me coming. Oh,
Dude,
man.
how many
That's
times
awesome, though.
how many times do you think she's pulled that on people?
Oh
Like,
no, for sure. Like a million people. Like even like when people go to the store, like I'll never do that to them, right? Like that's like straight up manipulation, right?
That's some savagery right there for sure. That's
I have no idea what it is about this, but it's just
look at the
smell.
notes. Look at the notes in it.
I know. It's let's see. It's got witch hazel.
Those are the ingredients.
Where are the notes?
Yeah, let me look at the notes. There's like cognac. There's
Cognac.
There's baby powder or like that kind of powdery
I
scent.
do.
kind of like a,
There's
Does it-
leather.
Does it have it on here?
Probably have it on the soap.
Oh, let's see. Okay, lavender powder, cognac, coffee, orange, neroli. What is neroli?
Neroli's like a sharp like orange.
Okay, hyacinth.
hyacinth.
Hyacinth. What is that?
It's a type of flower.
Sandalwood and vanilla.
So all those notes make up that scent.
That's the thing. It's like you describe all of those,
Wow.
like other than the one I didn't know, which is the same one you didn't know. I'm like, oh, I like those. Like that would be a good combination. And that's the thing is like there's certain like again you talked about bottom notes like sandalwood, is a super common like
Right.
bass note. What is another one? Bergamot. That's another one that's very common. But it's funny because it's like just adding like certain amounts and like these different things, and it just changes everything completely.
But again, ramen, brandy, whiskey, shaving, there's so much more that goes into it. And that's what helps enjoy it. It's like, tearing it down. What is it? What's involved in it? Partaking of it of just on every level, adding that drop of water to bring the oils to the surface. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant, you can have beef, chicken, or fish just prepared in different ways.
Yeah.
Right. All this is kind of the same thing. And I think when you know more about something, you enjoy it more.
Yeah, and and again, I mean, it's funny because it's like even with whiskey or even with coffee, like certain like the biggest thing that makes it like one thing that is critical ingredient that makes a huge difference, and you never think about water. Like total dissolved solids, what solids are in there, that sort of thing. That makes a huge difference, not just in coffee and whiskey and a lot of things. And this is the same way. Like there's, certain small ingredients that are common, but it's just the other things that get added into there. It's just changes it completely.
There's a movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's called Perfume.
I haven't seen it.
Have you seen it?
It's a documentary, no? Or is it a movie?
So I've heard different things. It's either based on a true story or not, but it's a movie it's based in 18 something or 18th century France, and it's this guy who's like an olfactory genius, and he's on a homicidal quest to find the perfect scent. He finds out that using like human fats really carries out like carries the scent really well, so he starts murdering people, and he finds out like,
seems legit.
okay, so anyway, so it's a pretty good movie.
Different
about,
documentary.
about-
Yeah.
it's not a documentary now.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie. I would recommend watching it. It starts off he was born like in some like, a fish market where you get all these foul smells back in like the 18th century.
So of course, like he's like, oh, something smells good. Like I enjoy that.
Yeah,
That's
so
interesting.
It's actually a pretty good movie. It's got pretty good reviews. I would recommend watching that. Since you like scents,
Yeah, for
I think
sure.
you should watch that. It's pretty good. But
Man,
damn, I can't get over this one.
really? So that's that's okay. So you're picking one of these up. Which one are you picking up first?
Monarch.
I know. Yeah, I figured that.
I gotta do Monarch.
Yeah.
And then-
For me, it's probably Panda. That's
Yeah,
the one that
that's
I
the
would
one.
pick up.
I'm already looking at it right now.
That's the one I would pick up. The Eau de Bois is probably maybe the second. Well, maybe the second or third one. But it's kind of tied for me with the Monarch as well. That smells really good. But yeah, I would if I I'll probably end up picking up a bunch of
Just
these.
another
I think you introduced Larry to a whole new hobby.
No. I don't need another hobby.
But again,
please.
I love the fact that again it tells a story before you open your mouth.
Yeah. And we forgot about this one, which is
That
kind of
one's-
sad because
that one's
that actually
Yeah.
smells
This is
really
a
good.
class.
That's the first scent I ever had in wet shaving. So like I've gone through 3 of those soaps. I go through that aftershave, but like when I wear that, like I rarely get to use it because again, it's a warmer scent.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man.
That's crazy.
I'm like be obsessed with scents now. Thanks, Abraham.
Yeah, and every day you can have a different scent. Like you don't have to go pick up a cologne or a parfum or EDT. These aftershaves, like they last on you like a good chunk of the day.
Yeah.
And you don't want to like smell. Like that's the thing. People overdo it with these eau de toilettes and eau de colognes. Like they get like 2 sprays here, 2 spray here, spray here. Like you really
Oh
just
my gosh.
you really just need it like here on your chest. Like so after you shower here, and that's really it. Like if you
Yeah.
want to spray somewhere else, like it sounds really weird, but like behind your knee, just a little spray there. That way, if like you're in a restaurant, you're walking by, people will be able to smell you.
Really?
Like it's crazy.
It just
But-
creeps up.
But you don't need so much. Like right here on your chest, 1, 2 good sprays.
Uh-huh.
This is really warm. The scent will project, and you don't want to be that guy.
No.
Another one that I heard about, and I actually started doing this when I heard about it because it made sense, is instead of spraying it directly on yourself,
You walk
spray it
into
and walk into it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I do with
You
like.
can. You get more of the fragrance everywhere, but you really want to put it like in your pulse points, the places where
Right.
it's warm, because that's where the fragrance will evaporate from into. Kind of like you don't want to like warm up your drink, so that's why you use your fancy glove. Here,
My
when you
drinking
warm
glove.
it up, when you warm it up, it projects.
Yeah, that makes sense. That, and I've also heard like people will do it on the back of the neck,
Mhm.
like for that same reason, instead of doing like that one I hadn't heard of, the back of the knee,
Mhm.
but it
That
does
is-
make sense.
So if you place it on your skin, it'll project more, right? So it'll like project more. If you place it in your skin, it holds the scent longer.
Mhm.
So you just kind of have to find like though how I would spray Panda wouldn't be how I would spray Gendarme 20. I wouldn't spray the same way I would in Eau de Beau or an aftershave.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's too bad I'm not going out after this.
I know.
I'd get free drinks.
But for real, like once you try, like if you get one of these scents, you'll just notice people noticing you.
Yeah, I do. And again, I do like that they're not something that's like super mainstream, super like you wouldn't know unless you like really, really know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anytime I wear Panda, like a lot of women will say, "What are you wearing? I want my husband to smell like that."
yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
crazy.
Panda. What's that one song? It's called Panda, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
man.
awesome, man.
Awesome.
I've thoroughly enjoyed this, smelling
Yeah.
all these different fragrances, and the coffees.
Man, I don't know. For me, it would be crazy because I know that this is just like a small selection. You probably have like a ton more.
Oh, dude, you
Like,
should
I don't
see
know
it.
I don't know what that would be like to pick one. Like,
It'll be over.
is that how long is that process? Like, is that like
Honestly, it's like in the morning when I think about what do I want to like wear, it just depends on what I'm doing. If like on a Sunday when I really just want to relax, I'll go for like a lavender scent or that Gendarme 20, right? If like I'm going out on like there's this cologne, like if I'm going on a date, I would wear that. So like, it hasn't been used, right? So it's like, different occasions you're wearing different things. But it's also like it helps how your day's gonna be.
that's true?
Right? If I wear
Yeah.
Panda, I'm gonna have a pretty great day, right? Like I'm gonna have a pretty good day. If I'm wearing that Eau de Beau, again, people are gonna like compliment on that. But it's different. Like I love that I have that variety.
That's
It sound.
yeah.
I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but it sounds like it's like a lost art because everybody's so into like like social media and stuff like that and electronics. But it seems to me like back in the day, this was like the thing. Like this was like
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole social media
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
like scents, like shaving, like just being able to put attention to detail and like the smallest things that today it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna shave. I'm just shaving.
You know, probably the biggest reason why I'm into these things is it helps with a conversation between two people.
Yeah.
Right? Like if so, you know, my friends, they'll bring their friends over, they'll smell everything. And as they're smelling stuff, so what do you do? You know, oh, like how long have you been doing that? Right? So this is like a gateway into a conversation. This is a gateway into, again, same thing with the drinks, right?
Right.
So like when I was a youth minister for about 5 years, and I was like learning how to shave. So like on the days where like it was prom, some of my female core team members that like did hair and makeup, come get your makeup done at the church, right? Don't go spend $40-$50 on makeup. Guys, come and like I'll shave you, right? Like a traditional like type of shave. This was just a foot in the door into a greater friendship, a greater conversation.
Right.
That's why I like coffee. Like when you came over,
Yeah.
I wasn't just making you coffee to make you coffee, right? Like we had probably talked about 3 or 4 times, but what was the conversation later that night?
I mean, it was about it opened up to like music and opened up to what the music means. So it opened up the conversation to a whole different.
The fragrances, the wet shaving, like
Yeah.
if you follow me on Instagram, like every other day you see a guy in my bathroom learning how to shave, right?
Yeah.
Like they're trying a new soap, they're like, and they love it, and like it's the greatest thing because afterwards they're like this, and they
This
do
is my
that-
face.
and they do that like 10 times, and like it's just like.
Yeah, it's a completely different like, because that's the thing is like that was me the first time I actually got a really good shave, and a really good shave doesn't have to be like completely like you don't feel anything, like maybe you feel something, but it's still like a lot closer than what I got with a cartridge razor.
And the fact that you can have that every time you shave.
Yeah,
Like that's like for me, when I meet somebody, I want them to leave feeling better about themselves, and not just the things that I say, but in like the things that I can leave them with, right? So if
Right.
you come, I'll give you a soap. I'll give you a razor if I have one. I'll give you a brush if I have it, because I'm introducing you to something that's going to help you start your day off better. So again, all this is just like a step in the door for something greater. That's why do I want to like spend 5-10 minutes making a cup of coffee in the morning? A lot of times, no, right? But when somebody's there, let me make you some coffee. They're seeing you do it,
Yeah.
but you're having that conversation. That's why when you
Right.
go to a barista, how was your day? When you go to a bar or whatever, it's that conversation. Yeah, we're talking about Panda, but we're talking.
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
and that's another thing too. Is like I was watching a thing on a guy that owns a cafe, and it was just the smallest thing, but it made so much sense. He's like, look, if you have 2 people and they're ordering together, one of them orders, say, an espresso, and the other one orders a latte or a cappuccino. You serve the bigger drink first before you serve the smaller drink. It's like this serves 2 purposes. One, espresso doesn't stay hot as long, it doesn't last as long, it's more quickly consumed. But by doing that, you're focusing on the experience, because the person that has the latte is going to have their coffee longer. People go to a cafe to have coffee together. And again, it's not just having the coffee and that drinking it at the same time, but the conversational aspect of it. Which I thought was like, man, like it's such a small thing, something that like I never thought of, like, but it's just it's cool. It's cool that somebody's focusing on the experience aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's just a small thing.
The human experience.
Yeah.
Because I think that's lacking now, man.
Well, that's why I enjoy that we do this, man. More than anything, honestly, more than just like you mentioned, more than just the drinking, it's the actual conversation aspect. Like it's kind of like I look forward to it just because it's like, man, I get to hang out with people I like and just get to shoot the shit.
That and then like every day, like on social media, like it's almost feels like artificial conversations or artificial. It's obviously artificial human contact. It's not the same face to face.
No. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because I was talking to somebody about this this whole thing about the poppies and all the traffic that's generated from it, and the media's hyping it up as a once in a lifetime experience, right? And she was like, maybe I think the media has something to do with it. She's like, because I've lived in the area my whole life, And this is like this time and the time before, maybe the past 2 times that I remember that it's gone crazy. I was like, thought about it for a little bit. I'm like, there's a reason for that. I said, it's not the poppies themselves, because the poppies have always been there.
Always.
People have driven by and have noticed it. It's a state flower. So obviously, like, they've grown, like, it rains, they grow, they go away. But people have noticed it before. It's not necessarily that. It's for the fucking gram. It's people go and take pictures of it. Like, they don't necessarily want to experience the poppies. They don't want to miss out on the poppies. They don't want to be.
Yeah.
And now they're stepping all over the poppies to get the photo. So it's
And they're messing it up for other people's experience. Not just that, but like, I was joking around. It's like, dude, I heard like people getting bit by snakes. And the worst part, the part that I really felt bad about and kind of mad, somebody's dog got bit by a snake. I'm like, the people, I don't care about it. They deserved it. They could have not been there. They deserved it. But the dog had no choice in the matter. It was taken along. The dog didn't want to go.
Did you hear they're doing a zip line now?
No, I didn't.
Shut up. There's zip line?
Yeah. I saw it earlier today.
Again, it's all to help you experience something new. But
how useful is that going to be when the area is on fire? Like, that would be.
Isn't it funny that they're helping you experience something new? But poppies have always been there. Flowers have always been there. Nature has always been there. But it's only when everybody else is doing it that now you want to experience it.
Yeah.
But like, just go outside and
dude, there's poppies here. I think his wife posted a picture of some poppies in Rubidoux.
Yeah,
She's like, why is everyone going to
I know, it's right
Lake
here.
Elsinore? There's poppies here in Rubidoux too.
Yeah.
I saw some in San Diego when we went hiking. The hills in San Diego were just covered in poppies.
I saw them on the way to the shooting range.
They were like,
oh, there you go. See,
what I liked about it was it was roped off, like you couldn't go. So I was like, okay, I understand that.
Like today when I was driving up to Banning, it was like, it was like foggy, and then it just looked crazy, bro. And I was driving, I was like, damn. It's like, you know what? I never really look when I'm driving. I always like pay attention, and I don't look what's around me, like. And that just got me.
I think it's important you do pay attention.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I'm just
kidding. Like, take out of your element what you're thinking about. Like,
right.
You're over there thinking about work, thinking about like stuff you have to do when you get home and stuff like that. And it's just like sit back and just like you're like, oh shit, like it's a bigger world than, a lot of people forget that.
Yeah, it's easy to kind of like ignore the stuff going on around. It's just noises because you can focus on other stuff. I noticed something like that too earlier in the week when it was kind of raining, and then like, oh look, there's a rainbow. That's really cool. Haven't seen one of those in a while. Right, even though it's like been raining like a whole bunch of times, and but it was just one of those things. It wasn't like a double rainbow moment. I didn't cry, but it was pretty cool. I was like, oh man, I haven't seen a rainbow in a while.
The snow too right now. That's crazy.
It's been a lot of rain.
Yeah,
a lot more than usual.
Yeah.
I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm kind of annoyed, but kind of enjoying it overall.
I'm not annoyed. I enjoy it.
Overall, I'm enjoying it. Though.
Because you know what? I know that in a couple months, it's going to be hot as fuck.
And we're going to be like, fuck.
And it's going to be like, this is just, no, I don't enjoy this. Plus, I mean, I don't get cold easily. So I also get hot very easily. So, I get to enjoy the nice weather for a bit.
Absolutely. So, as far as the whiskey, I mean, the scents were amazing. But as far as the whiskey, what's your guys' take on it? Do you guys enjoy it? Is this going to go in the infinity bottle?
I would say yeah.
We should put that in there.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree too.
I think it's infinity bottle worthy. We'll explain to you what the infinity bottle is afterwards.
I can explain to you what an infinity brush is.
Oh, there's an infinity brush.
West Coast Shaving.
There you go.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. What is an infinity bruch?
It's just like a specific style shave brush that we're carrying. A specific artisan makes them. He's like, his stuff is intense. Like, it's crazy. The fact that like he gets the color swirls, and they have it's like an infinity shape, so we call it infinity brush.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I mean, thank you, Abraham, for joining us. We thoroughly enjoyed learning about scents. I mean, it's definitely broaden our
it's not something like
something
again, it wasn't something that I was really introduced to when I was doing it, but I learned on that stuff on my own. So really cool perspective.
Yeah,
And
you introduced me to something different for sure.
yeah.
Really appreciate it. Thank you, Mosquito, for joining us.
Yeah.
Well, it's a horsefly, right? What,
Yeah,
what are
yeah.
they called?
I think that's
Horse
what they're
mosquitoes.
Whatever.
called. No,
they're
it's not an
called.
actual mosquito, but I think it's called. I forget what it's. I think it's.
I don't know, but
They're
that's a
not the
big
ones that
motherfucker.
bite you though.
No.
They not bite you or whatever. They don't.
They actually eat the mosquitoes.
Yeah, they do.
You want them around.
You do want them around.
Good times.
But thank you
Alright,
guys
well-
for joining us. Another episode of Whiskey Talk.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys
See you
soon.
later.
See you.
Bye.
Peace.